If you're stuck in the student loan debt trap, watching your balance barely budge despite your monthly payments, you're not alone. Millions of graduates are struggling with this $1.74 trillion problem, but there is a way out. In this video, myself and my AI assistant Tiara are going to reveal 5 powerful hacks that can help you pay off your student loans years faster and save thousands in interest. And you'll also learn how budgeting and lifestyle adjustments can turbocharge the process. Plus, I'll expose the #1 mistake that keeps most borrowers trapped in debt for decades. This single tip could be the key to getting rid of those annoying student loan payments for good. The first strategy is one of the most powerful, especially when you look at the math behind it. I'll let Tiara jump in here to explain.
First up, extra payments. I know, it sounds obvious, but hear me out. Even an extra $50 a month can make a huge difference.
Every time that you make an extra payment, you're not just chipping away at your loan balance. You're actually saving yourself money in the long run. How? Well, it's all about that interest that they're charging you. So here's a quick example. Let's say that you've got a $30,000 loan at 6% interest with a 10-year repayment plan. If you throw an extra $50 a month at that loan, you could shave off nearly 2 years of payments and save over $2,000 in interest. But here's the kicker. And this is super important. When you make extra payments, you need to tell your loan servicer to apply that extra cash to your principal balance. Some servicers will do this by default, but some, like the one I used, may apply it to your next month's payment, which doesn't help you pay off your loan any faster at all. So what's the best way to make this work? Well, first, you should set up automatic payments for a bit more than your minimum due. Even an extra $20 or $30 can make a huge difference over time. Next, anytime you get a windfall, maybe a tax refund or even a birthday check from grandma, consider putting at least part of it towards your loans. Also, if you can swing it, try making bi-weekly payments instead of monthly. This sneaky trick means that you'll end up making one extra full payment each year. And remember, every little bit helps. You don't have to double your payments to see a benefit. Even small, consistent extra payments can knock years off of your repayment timeline and save you thousands of dollars in interest.
Next, let's talk about 2 super effective ways to crush your student loans: the debt avalanche and the debt snowball methods.
Now, this is for you folks out there that have more debt than just student loans, which is probably everyone watching this video. And there's no shame in it. Pretty much everyone has that. So in order to pay off student debt faster, you really need to look at your approach to paying off your debt as a whole, which is where these ideas really come into play. So first up is the debt management method. So here's how it works. So you want to list out all your debts from the highest interest rate to the lowest interest rate. Make minimum payments on all your debts. Then you throw any extra cash that you've got at the debt with the highest interest rate. Once that's paid off, move to the next highest interest rate, and so on. The Avalanche method is all about saving you the most money in interest over time. Your main goal may be to pay off student loans, but most student loans really have lower interest rates, so that may not be the best approach if you're trying to save as much money as possible. Second is the snowball method. So this one is for those of you who need some quick wins to stay motivated. And here's how that works. So list your debts from smallest balance to the largest balance. Make minimum payments on all your debts and put any extra money towards the smallest debt. Pay that off and then move to the next smallest. And this works because you get momentum and you start to feel accomplished as you're doing it. Now, either of these methods is completely valid, but the best method is the one that you'll stick with. The debt avalanche method will save you the most money in the long run. But if you need a quick win to feel good, stick with the snowball method instead. Okay, moving on. The next hack has both positives and negatives, but if you can find the right option, it'll be one of the most powerful ways to save thousands in the process.
Third, let's talk about one of the most powerful moves in the student loan game: refinancing for better interest rates.
Refinancing is a pretty simple concept. You're essentially swapping out your current loans for a new loan that has better terms. The main goal is to secure a lower interest rate. And let me tell you, even a small drop in your rate can save you big money over time. So here's a quick example. Let's say that you've got $30,000 in student loans at 7% interest with a 10-year term. If you could refinance that to 5%, you'd save about $3,600 over the life of your loan. So yeah, this one is simple, but it's very effective. But how do you know if you're a good candidate for refinancing? Well, lenders typically look for a few key things: a solid credit score, usually 650 or higher, a steady income, and a history of making on-time payments. If you've got those bases covered, you might be in a good position to refinance. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but what about my federal loans? Well, here's the deal. You can refinance federal loans, but you'll be trading them for a private loan. That means you could say goodbye to some of the federal perks like income-driven repayment plans and potential loan forgiveness. So make sure that you take the time to weigh the pros and cons before making the leap. And one tip before you do this, shop around. Different lenders offer different rates, so it pays to compare. Many lenders let you check your rate with just a soft credit pull, which won't ding your credit score. Also, pay extra attention to the loan length. One of the best things about student loans is you have a long time to repay them. So make sure that any new loans have a similar timeline. Now, the next hack is pretty simple and most loan providers offer it, but a lot of people just don't do it, and it really only takes a couple minutes.
Fourth, let's talk about one of the easiest ways to save money on your student loans: enrolling in Autopay.
So why is Autopay so good? Well, most lenders, both federal and private, they'll offer a sweet little interest rate reduction when you sign up for automatic payments. We're typically looking at a 0.25% discount here. And I know 0.25% doesn't sound like much, but it really does add up. For instance, say you've got a $90,000 loan at a 6% interest with a 10-year repayment plan. Without Autopay, you'd be paying $999 a month over the life of the loan. But if you enroll in Autopay and snag a 0.25% discount, you'd only pay $988 a month. That's a savings of $1,352 over the life of the loan. Now, it's not going to be earth-shattering, but why not save some money on payments you're gonna make anyway? And here's the kicker. It's not just about the money. So enrolling in Autopay means you'll never miss a payment. No more late fees, no more dings to your credit score, and no more stressing trying to remember if you actually paid this month's bill. Now, most people think that there is no way to take advantage of this next hack, but you really need to look deeper, as it's a real game changer if you can make it happen.
Fifth, now that we've covered the basics of student loan repayment, let's dive into the juicy stuff: loan forgiveness programs.
First up, we've got the Public Service Loan Forgiveness, or PSLF program. This one's a game changer for those of you working in public service jobs like government employees, teachers in public schools, or nonprofit workers. If you work full-time in a qualifying job and make 120 qualifying payments, which is 10 years, the government will usually forgive the rest of your federal direct loans completely tax-free. But teachers get another perk as well. For all you future teachers out there, there's the Teacher Loan Forgiveness Program. If you teach full-time for 5 consecutive years in a low-income school, you could get up to $17,500 of federal student loans forgiven. Now, if you're not in public service or teaching, don't worry. There are still options. So there's the income-driven repayment, or IDR plans, that can lead to loan forgiveness after 20 to 25 years of payments. The catch is that you might have to pay taxes on the forgiven amount, but that'll be significantly less than your loan. And a tip here, if you're pursuing public service loan forgiveness, make sure that you're on an income-driven repayment plan. It'll lower your monthly payments and maximize the amount forgiven after 10 years. And remember, these programs are for federal loans only. So if you have private loans, those have different terms, and depending on their origin, they have a completely different set of rules. So now that we've got through the hacks, let's examine how budgeting and lifestyle adjustments can also make a really big impact.
Now let's talk budgeting. I know it's not the most exciting topic, but it's your secret weapon against student loan debt.
All right, so creating a budget is crucial to paying off student loan debts fast. The reason? Well, when you know how much money you have, you can plan ahead and try to throw extra payments towards the student loan. I have a whole other video that I'll be sure to link to later in this video that explains everything that you need to know about building a proper budget. But an easy fix is the 50-30-20 rule. That's 50% of your income towards needs, 30% to wants, and 20% for debt repayment and savings. Now, if you can, bump that last 20% up to really tackle these student loans. And aside from budgeting, there are 2 other lifestyle changes that you can make to pay off the loans quicker as well.
The next change you should consider is to try to find a way to make more money.
While I'm not talking about asking for a raise, though that's not a bad idea, I'm talking about focusing on side hustles, which, if you're lucky like I was when I built my first website, that side hustle can actually turn into a legitimate business. So here are some quick ideas to, boost your cash flow. First is freelancing. Sites like Upwork or Fiverr are gold mines for freelance gigs. Next is tutoring. So if you aced your classes, why not help others and make money doing it? You can also consider rideshare or food delivery. They have Uber, Lyft, DoorDash. There's flexible hours and it's quick cash. You can sell stuff online. So one person's clutter is another's treasure. So eBay, Facebook Marketplace, and more. Next is pet sitting or dog walking. So if you're an animal lover, in my opinion, this is just a no-brainer. So hang out with furry friends and get paid while doing it. And remember, every extra dollar that you earn, it can go straight to your loans. You can use it in other areas too if you'd like, but remember to always throw some of your earnings back into the loans.
The last lifestyle change you can focus on is a little more painful than trying to make extra money, but it can work well.
Now let's talk about trimming the fat from your budget. So I'm not saying you need to live like a monk and not spend anything, but a few smart cuts can really free up significant cash. So here are some quick ways to slash your expenses. So first, cut the cord. Streaming services, they are way cheaper than cable. Mix and match, and you'll save a lot of money. Next is meal prep. So cooking at home, it isn't just healthier, it actually will just save you a ridiculous amount of money as well. Next, we can negotiate bills. So call your phone and internet providers. You'd really be surprised how often they'll be willing to cut a deal with you if you just kind of say, hey, I saw a better price and I'm kind of thinking about it.
Oh, it's just a bluff.
Most of the time, they'll panic and give you a good price. Next is something that some of you may not like, but it's really a huge saver, and that is thrift shopping. So you can get designer labels at a fraction of the price. You don't have to pay top dollar for those. You can also consider using cash back apps. Basically, you can get money back for the stuff that you're buying anyway. And one tip here that will help you reduce spending. So if you feel tempted to buy something, try the 30-day rule. So before making any big purchase, just wait 30 days. If you still want it after a month, go for it. If not, then you probably didn't really need it. Now, earlier in the video, I mentioned that there was one specific mistake that kept borrowers in debt for decades. So let's talk about that.
The biggest mistake most borrowers have is choosing the wrong repayment plan or mismanaging loan repayment strategies.
So there are 4 parts to this that you really need to pay attention to. So stick with me here, as any of these can really, really impact how quickly you pay off your loans. First is not fully understanding or utilizing income-driven repayment plans. So these plans, they're IDR plans is what we refer to them as. They can be a lifesaver for borrowers struggling with high monthly payments. These plans, they cap your monthly payment at a percentage of your discretionary income, typically about 10 to 20%. By not utilizing IDR plans, borrowers may struggle unnecessarily with payments that they can't afford, potentially leading to delinquencies or defaults, which can really crush your credit score and lead to big problems in the future. Second is sticking with the standard 10-year repayment plan when it's really not the best fit. So the standard 10-year plan is the default for federal loans, but it's not always the best option. So for borrowers with high debt to income ratios, the monthly payments under this plan can be really unaffordable. On the flip side, borrowers who can afford higher payments might benefit from a shorter repayment term to save on interest. Third is overusing forbearance or deferment. While these options can provide temporary relief, they should be used sparingly. The reason is because interest continues to accrue during these periods, except if you're using subsidized loans during deferment. And when the forbearance or the deferment ends, that interest is often capitalized, which increases the overall loan balance, which increases the total paid over time. And fourth is failing to recertify income for income-driven repayment plans annually. So IDR plans, they require borrowers to recertify their income and their family size each year. Failing to do so can result in being kicked off the plan or having your payments revert to the standard 10-year amount, which could be much higher than what you were paying under the IDR plan and will cost you in the long run. I mentioned previously that I had a video about building a proper budget that I really think that you'd enjoy. And you can watch that by clicking right here, or if that doesn't seem right for you, you can watch my most recent video right over here. But before you go, make sure that you subscribe to the channel to unlock financial success one AI chat at a time. Thanks for watching.